I found something really cool when I ran my lawnmower through this warm season cover crop mix yesterday. I'm Rob from Dowdle Family Farms, and I've been on this mission to grow more cover crops for our pigs to reduce our reliance on grain to supplement their diets. And there's something really cool that you can find in your warm season cover crop mix that I want to show you today. If you've seen many of our videos, you've probably seen a lot of these cover crops. It's a mixture of sorghum sudan grass, hybrid pearl millet, cowpeas, buckwheat, sunflowers. We've got some okra in here. And we also include brassicas, which are technically cool season cover crops. Yesterday, I was cutting this lane for our electric fencing to move our breeder pigs into this paddock, and I found something out that was really, really neat. Several times while I was cutting this path, I ran across purple top turnips. Now, purple top turnips are a great crop for livestock to eat. They're high in protein. It's much like forage brassicas like dwarf Essex rape. And you can see the purple top turnip growing right here. Now there's some chicory that's growing well under this canopy. Now if this were in the middle of the winter or in the fall, we would want it to be in an open field and not shaded so much. But this chicory right there, the pigs love it. It has a lot of protein. It has a lot of calcium and trace minerals that really help, especially our breeder pigs, increase the nutrient density of the feeds that they eat. And it's in a much more mineral soluble form, being that it's plant-based rather than synthetic-based. The thing that's so strange about it though is that cool season cover crops thrive when the temperatures are below the mid 80 degrees in the high point of the day. 70 to 85 degrees are their preferred temperatures. And if they grow much above 85 or 86 degrees, they do not perform very well at all. So in 90-degree weather, how in the world are these cool season cover crops thriving in this warm season cover crop mix? But the best guess that I have is that the cover crop here in this area is about 3 or 3.5 feet tall. So you've got this hybrid pearl millet right here. You've got the sorghum sudan grass in other places. You've also got things like the buckwheat, and most of the sunflowers have died now. But you've got all these different cover crops that are shading the soil. And so once you get down deep into the cover crop mix, what you find is the temperature here has created a microclimate. Not only are the soil temperatures lower, like 70 or 80, 85 degrees, rather than 100 degrees if the soil were bare, but that cooler soil and the shade provided by the dense cover crop mix above it creates a microclimate that these cool season cover crops can grow and thrive in. The reason this is so important is because warm season cover crops typically are not the most nutritious crops for pigs. After all, cows thrive on this sorghum sudan grass and hybrid pearl millet. Pigs, especially larger pigs, can get a significant portion of their nutrition from it. Also, pigs do really well on buckwheat, both the plants and the dried seed like this right here. And they can even get a good bit of nutrition from the sunflower seeds after they've gone to seed as well. However, things like clovers, dwarf Essex rape, along with purple top turnips and many of those other brassicas and cool season legumes simply have a lot less lignin. They have a lot more nutrition, and pigs, even smaller pigs, can get more nutrition out of it faster. So if we can increase a little bit of the nutrition, even if we only have one of these cool season plants every few square feet, the thing about it is it can still increase the palatability and the nutrient density of this whole cover crop field. Things like dwarf Essex rape seem to have a lot of great benefit for earthworms as well. And then we have little sections of clover like that as well. Now that's not a real thick stand of clover. that we would get in the spring in an open pasture, but it still adds a little bit more nutrition in this overall cover crop field. And the beauty of these cool season cover crops is that they cost less per pound. Now the purple top turnips do cost about $3 a pound when you buy a 50-pound bag or so, but you only plant it at about 5 to 10 pounds per acre in a solid stand mix. In our mixes, we only put about a pound or so of them per acre in a mix. Dwarf Essex rape is less than $1 a pound, so we can plant an acre of it for less than $5 in a pure stand. And in a mix, adding a pound or half a pound per acre of Dwarf Essex rape increases in the nutrient density, but it only adds about $1 worth of cost per acre to the feed mix. So including so many of these other cover crops in the mixes can have a world of a lot of benefit. Cool season cover crops can add a lot of different diversity, both in terms of the nutrient density, but also in terms of what they add to the soil if you include them in your warm season cover crop mix. On a personal note, I would not add cool season cover crops that cost a lot of money to seed, but if you're only talking about a couple or $3 per acre to add them to the mix, it's well worth it. Even if they don't perform, you're not out a whole lot of money, and they can do a whole lot of good in your cover crop mixes. I'm glad that I wound up cutting a straight line path through this cover crop field, because it offered me the opportunity to show you some of those cool season cover crops that you typically may not see at the edge of the field, but you do see closer in the middle of the fields. I know it's a short video, but I'm just here to tell you that if you include some cool season cover crops, try just some of your cheapest seed, things like Dwarf Essex rape or purple top turnips. Include that with your sorghum sudan grass, your hybrid pearl millet, and your other cover crops. And I'm here to tell you, I think that you will see that they add some benefit to your cover crops, and it does not add any cost in there as well. Especially if you're grazing pigs and even cows, but especially if you're grazing pigs, those cool season cover crops can help increase the nutrient density of the feeds.